will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
7:51 here, Big 550 KTRS. That's right, World Cup soccer fever has hit the U.S. Germany and U.S. 11 o'clock Central Time. It's the game that could propel them to the next round or send them home. To talk about it, Simon Carr, host of Fusion TV's Soccer God. Simon, welcome back to Big 550 KTRS here in St. Louis. Simon, are you there?
Morning, guys. How are you? Yeah.
Yeah, good to hear you, Simon. First off, the coach for the USA is in a very interesting spot, him, of course, being German and playing against Germany while coaching the U.S.
Yeah, that's right. The really interesting twist of this is that the current coach of Germany was his assistant when Klinsmann was coach of the national team, the German national team in 2006. They're actually old friends. They go back a long way. But let me tell you, today all of that goes to one side. Forget friendship. This is what it's all about. Professional pride kicks in. There's no way that Klinsmann will want headlines written about him back in Germany laughing at him because the USA have been humiliated by a defeat today. There's no way. He'll be sending the guys out 100% focused to go and get the win. If they play for the draw, it will come back and bite them on the backside. They've got to go for it. Hopefully they'll get the result they need. It should be a great game.
Are people calling him in Germany a traitor, or should they?
No, I don't think so. The interesting thing about soccer is that obviously it's such a global sport, and coaches and players end up playing all over the world now. So there's an understanding that hey, this is a job, this is something that everybody loves. So they don't look at it like that. It's not considered traitor. Obviously, Bruce Arena was famously coach of Egypt. No one said he was a traitor to the U.S.
Yeah.
So in soccer, it's slightly different.
I want to get to your thoughts on today's game, but I have to ask you about the end of that Portugal-U.S. game. And there are some soccer guys around the hallways here that say that it was just a total breakdown by the U.S. to not able to sort of run out that extra time. What were your thoughts about those last moments?
I thought it was devastating. I think it's a huge lesson to learn for Team USA. They did it against Ghana. They conceded a goal very late on. They obviously did it against Portugal as well. If there's one thing that Klinsmann would be saying to the players today, go out and play like you did against Portugal, but stay focused, stay concentrated for the full length of the game until the ref blows the final whistle. Because if you don't, teams like Portugal, teams like Germany, they've got such good players, they can punish you in a split second. One moment you switch off, the next thing you're a goal down. And obviously the thing with soccer, as we know, one goal can make all the difference in a match. So the USA went from 3 points to 1. So that's the message today, I'm sure.
So what does USA have to do today?
The most important thing, Aaron, is not concede early. We saw them do it against Portugal, and it was a hell of a fight back to get back into the game. Once the Germans go in front, they're full of confidence. They almost get arrogant, to be honest, and they're so good that once the US have to push on and chase the game, there'll be spaces at the back which the Germans are more than good enough to exploit. So the most important thing is keep organized, keep your discipline, keep your shape, attack when you can, and make sure that when you get chances, when you get offensive chances, take them. We saw them create a lot against Portugal. They could have been out of sight before the equalizer even came. It could have been 3 or 4. They played so well. You have to take those chances.
Simon Carr, if the U.S. is able to go to the next round, what does that mean for soccer and U.S. soccer going forward?
I think it's huge. I think we've seen this week both ESPN and Univision, the rights holders in the U.S., have released their viewing figures, their record numbers. We saw, I think ESPN said something like a peak of 25 million people or 23 million people watched the game against Portugal. That's more than the NBA Finals. That's more than the World Series. So to get through to the next stage will really ignite the passion. One thing I've seen down here, thousands and thousands of USA fans all over the country. The US sold more tickets for matches here than any country outside of actually Brazil. So we can see the idea that soccer will never catch on in the US. Well, that's a bit of a myth, and it's basically been proved false. So I think if they can get through to the knockout stage, they'll actually have, if they get through, they'll actually have a reasonable chance of then getting through into the quarterfinals. The teams they might face are not that strong. So, it would be great for the game.
Going forward, everyone's talked about just getting out of this group play. It's been such a powerful group that if they can get through it, you're right. They probably could do some damage in that knockout round.
That's right. The group of death, where beforehand, if you'd have said to any fan or Klinsmann or the players, would you take getting out of the group? They'd have all said yes. Once you get through the group, of course, it's one game. It's win or go home, and anything can happen. The bounce of the ball can go your way. You can get a call from the referee that maybe you shouldn't. You can hit a lucky shot. You can, the other team can have an off day. Anything can happen in one game, and that's why we love the sport so much. So once they get through, if they get through, then really no team would want to play America, let me tell you.
Simon Carr, what is your prediction?
I'm going to sit on the fence and say draw. Is that okay? I think they'll get what they need. I hope they get what they need. I really want them to get through. I actually have, bizarrely for an Englishman, I have a very soft spot for the German national team. I like a lot of their players, so I'd like them both to go through. I'm not a big fan of Cristiano Ronaldo, so I'd quite like to see Portugal go home.
Simon Carr, host of Fusion TV's Soccer God. Simon, thanks for being so nice with your time, and have fun down there today.
Pleasure, guys. Enjoy the match.
You got it.
Thanks.
Simon Carr with us, has been with us a couple of times. We should say Martin Kilcoyne hosting his show from Schneidhorst starting at 10 o'clock. KTRS is basically closing up the store, and everyone's headed down there. So you are all officially welcome to come and partake in World Cup soccer, KTRS style. I should say this. We also have a board meeting, and I was asked to speak at the board meeting at 10 o'clock, and I was asked, make it quick. The game starts at 11.
Wow. Short